Hello, this is T Chapman 500. Welcome to part 2 in the series of video tutorials on how to build your own racetracks for NR2003. In this video, we're gonna set up our workspace to create our very first track. As a side note, what we did in the last video only has to be done once, but what we're doing in this video will have to be done for every track, for the most part. So in NR2003's track directory, we're going to copy just about any track. For this video, we're copying Talladega. We're gonna put it in our shared folder. We're also gonna go into command prompt. We're going to do cd for change directory, and we're gonna navigate to our workspace directory, and then the directory of the track that we just copied. And actually, I should have mentioned this before, but we also need to copy makelib and RTS to the track directory that we just copied. And we're going to use makelib to unpack the dat file. So this is the command line. -u is the argument to unpack the dat file. Here we go. If you remember from the last video, we used this for the shared.dat folder, but we haven't done anything with it yet. So there are a few things that we're interested in, and by the way, you can close this out now. So first thing, the flagger pit 0, flagger SFR, and flagger stop go 0. We are going to copy those, and we're also going to make our track directory. We're going to name it tutorial. We're going to paste those 3DO files into there. Also, just for convenience, we're going to copy Talladega's flag stand into our tutorial track as well. We also need to copy the MIP file for that flag stand. So here it is. And now we're going to go into the shared folder and copy a few things. So first off, flag checkered, series flagger, sign reflect, and stop go. We'll copy it into here. And those are basically all the textures that we need. We're just gonna copy one more thing from Talladega. That's going to be the trkwin.stp file. And this isn't gonna really make a difference right now, but it'll be nice to have it for when we do our test race later in this series. We are also going to copy the track mat folder. The 3DO files are the 3D objects that are placed around the racetrack. The MIP files are the textures used by those objects. But there's also another use for MIP files. Every MIP file that has a TSD prefix is actually a standalone decal that is placed on the track. And the TSD prefix is optional. It just helps you to determine which decals that you have set apart for decals, and which textures that are for trackside objects. The track mat folder has the textures that are set apart for surface and wall textures, and it's just a lot of MIP files, most of which we're probably not going to be using. So now we need to create our PTF file. So we're going to right click, new, and at this point it really doesn't matter. So we're going to call this tutorial.ptf, and the name of the file must match the name of the directory that it's in, and it must have a PTF extension so that the game knows which file contains the geometry for the racetrack. We are now going to open up this track, and we should get an error message, but we're going to ignore that. That dialog box is for editing F or W sections. We will talk about that more probably in the next video. There's the error message. The reason this error message pops up is because there are no segments in the PTF file. It is required for you to have at least one track segment in order to save. So we're just going to click OK, and we're going to maximize it just because we can. And this is what you are going to be greeted with when you first open up Sandbox. A blank grid with a diamond to designate the origin, And in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you have the X and Y coordinates of the mouse. We are going to right click, and we can right click anywhere on the grid, and create a straight or curved segment. So we're going to create a straight segment. Now we need to save the track. So we will go to File, Save. We're going to close it, and then we're going to reopen the track just to confirm that it was saved. And it was. The track looks a lot bigger now, and that's because Sandbox has zoomed in so that the racetrack takes up most of the screen. Now if you want to zoom in even further, push the Z key. If you want to zoom out, push the X key. And to move the view around, you want to push the C key. And when you push the C key, then wherever the mouse cursor is pointing to, that is where the camera will move to. Now in the next video, we're going to go into a lot more detail about how to use Sandbox. So I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share. And also, link to my Discord is in the description, and if you want to support my work, you can do so via Patreon or Subscribestar. This is T Chapman 500 signing off.